for listening to Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast, keeping you up to date with the latest in American soccer. And don't forget to subscribe.
On today's episode of Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast, we discuss the 5 hottest topics this week in MLS. We sit down with Charles Boehm and talk about MLS issues along with the U.S. national team. And finally, we discuss the All-Star game and if the format should change or stay the same. All this on this edition of Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast.
Hello and welcome, episode 3 of Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast. How you guys doing? Armand, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. I've just been working really hard, so...
Yeah, you had an article go up for MLSsoccer.com.
Yeah, man, it's really exciting. They contacted me and I released a couple articles at MLSsoccer.com, so check that out if y'all have a chance.
Absolutely. It's been a crazy week for us. 3 episodes in 1 week, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of tired.
I am
This is your fault, but I mean...
No, this is your fault.
Why is it my fault?
You wanted to publish so much.
I mean, yeah, it's true, but I mean, like, hey, it's worth it.
Teamwork, right?
But I'm tired, man. I'm tired.
No, I agree. Fantastic episode. And for this first opening section, we got 5 questions we're going to ask. We got a little whistle. There it is. It's going to break them up, but let's go ahead. We got the questions all wrapped
Mumbled
up.
jumbled, yeah. I can't see them right now, and I'm going to choose. There are 5 hottest topics in MLS that happened this past week. So I'm going to choose one, and I'm going to ask Steven, and we're going to do that back and forth.
Absolutely. All right. Pool number 1. Let's go.
Ready? Oh, I got this one right here. Ooh, this is a good one right here. I like this one. Bob Bradley going to LAFC. You heard about that news, right?
Oh, probably the big. Well, I don't know. Was it the biggest news from a? Because we're going to talk about the other big news, but this might have been the biggest.
I mean, you could say that. I mean, there might be another bigger news in my opinion, but this was pretty substantial. Bob Bradley going to LAFC. What are your thoughts on this, Stephen? How do you feel about Bob Bradley?
Honestly, wasn't he rumored with LAFC?
He was rumored for a long time with LAFC once he got sacked from Swansea.
Who else was rumored with him?
Plenty of other managers.
I mean, he's a big name. He's recognizable. His son, Michael. That I think LAFC went after. This is LA, so the market in LA commands big names. You
need some star power. Remember, we talked about this a couple episodes ago about how they were lacking a coach and lacking some star power. Now look, they got Bob Bradley on the staff.
Well, the question is, are players gonna follow?
I mean, this guy has a proven. Well, I wouldn't say a proven European track record, but a pretty good European record. So I mean, do you think that they wouldn't want to go play for him or?
I think he will. I mean, okay, let's look through his career. 96, he was an assistant with Arena, winning back-to-back cups with DC United. Then 98, takes over the Chicago Fire. He was the first coach of the expansion club, so he's repeating that with LAFC. Right. So he has some history with expansion clubs.
Just 20 years later, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
20 years later.
Exactly 20
crazy.
Years. In his first year, he won the Cup double, named the MLS Coach of the Year in 98 with Chicago. Then in 2000, won the U.S. Open Cup. Resigned, went to the Metro Stars.
Now, if you all don't know, the Metro Stars are currently the Red Bulls right now.
Yes. Got to the U.S. Open Cup final and the playoffs, which I actually did not know, but this is what I found very fascinating about Bob Bradley.
Is it substitution thing?
The substitution incident where MLS at the time allowed a 4th substitution for a goalkeeper.
Yeah, he exploited. I've seen the videos so many times. You see, it's Eddie Gavin, right? He goes into the goal.
Yeah. And
he's a goalie for like 5 seconds, and like they switch him off. It's one of the most embarrassing moments as like an MLS official, but it's hilarious when you watch it.
Well, I would call this Bill Belichickian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, 03.
I mean, you always have to throw reference to your Patriots, but
I do. But what I'm saying is that's like, I mean, what he did wasn't illegal.
I mean, it wasn't, but
it was against the rules of soccer.
Yeah.
Obviously, but I think that was fascinating. I forgot that ever happened, and credit to Bradley for thinking on the fly. But, I mean, so up until this point, he's been successful in Major League Soccer. Then goes to the Chivas, takes them to the playoffs after a really disappointing inaugural season.
And who's Chivas USA, by the way?
Chivas USA, not Chivas from Mexico.
Yeah.
Then he goes to the U.S. men's national team, which what I found interesting is Jurgen Klinsmann, who actually did take over after Bradley, was the first choice. Bradley only took over as an interim. And they were thinking, Bradley could do the 2014 World Cup cycle, and Klinsmann would do the next several, or the next one in 2010. So they flip-flopped what actually happened. But I think what the Federation's idea was, okay, we'll get Klinsmann now. He can be an assistant to Klinsmann, and then Klinsmann will step down or
kind of groom him to be like the successor.
The successor. But they kind of reversed roles. It was Bradley then Klinsmann rather than Klinsmann then Bradley.
Right.
But, he went on, and I think the most memorable moment under his tenure as the men's national coach was the Confederations Cup final.
That run, right? They beat
Spain,
they
who had like a 34 or maybe 35 unbeaten streak for a European club, was like the most ever. Then he gets to the final against Brazil. I think Kaká was playing, and they were up 2-0 at halftime. I remember I was just like, this is the U.S. up against Brazil. And then he stormed back Brazil. And it wasn't like Brazil stormed back. It was like one or two sloppy goals that cost him the game. And wow, USA were that close to winning something FIFA related as far as with the men's national team. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But so he's had history. Then he goes to Europe, Swansea City debacle. So
I mean, he had really good success with Stabæk, the team in Norway. And I think he's a quality addition to MLS, if not one of... I think he's definitely... It's just a fantastic trend for MLS. I'm trying to get my words out right now. It's a fantastic trend for MLS with all these coaches that have international success just coming in and...
I wonder if international coaches, what their success rate is in Major League Soccer compared to the Americans.
I want to say it's not much, to be honest. Do you think it's much?
I mean, I don't know. I'd have to look at the statistics to really understand that.
I feel like international managers are a little scared of MLS because it's such a funky league. It's not like your stereotypical, Premier League or it's the playoff system, the travel. I think the rules, the restrictions, the signing players. I think it's a lot of international managers are kind of scared of it.
Yeah,
and it's hard. It's hard. I mean, if you don't follow MLS or not, you don't get it. You don't know what's going on.
Well, yeah, playoffs. Then you have these weird FIFA windows,
drafts, allocations, like TAM, GAM, like what? Like if you're international, like what? Like what is this?
No, it's confusing, and I have myself a hard time understanding all these salary cap rules. So think about that. Rather coming to a system where you're Jose Mourinho and you can just buy whoever at Manchester United, Conte at Chelsea. No, you come here and it's like, oh crap! I have to
salary cap.
Like you have to put
DP.
And homegrown player contract. It's very complicated in Major League Soccer. So it's interesting. Maybe the trend is to send American coaches out and then coming back in rather than find international coaches.
Maybe.
But he's had success on all types of levels of the game: college, pro, the national level.
He's a
well-rounded guy. So I think it's a great signing. I think it brings a lot of what's the right term? Just stardom already to
Mojo
the team.
To the league.
Mojo to the league. It's a big name. I mean, Bob Bradley is 4th on all-time postseason wins in Major League Soccer and 5th in just regular season wins.
Oh yeah, he's there's nothing like his credentials are fantastic for expansion side.
Yeah. So great signing.
I think it's fantastic.
All right. What's the next question?
You grab it, man.
I got
you grab it.
Ha ha ha. All right, this is a great one. So this past week, we had Dom Dwyer traded to the Orlando City.
I love Dom Dwyer. Just like to put on a completely random note, Dom Dwyer is one of my favorite players in MLS history, in my opinion.
Your favorite player?
One of my favorite players.
One of your favorite. Okay, I don't know if that's just
I love watching him play.
Heat of the moment.
He is ferocious on the ball. When he scored 4 goals in that USL final, I was like, this guy.
Okay, we can get to it. Let me just finish the question. Dom Dwyer was traded to the Orlando City, to Orlando City in a record deal. The total trade package could reach $1.6 million in allocation money. Does this make sense for Orlando?
Yes, it does. They needed a spark. They needed scoring. I feel like they also needed, because I feel like Kyle Lauren's going to leave at some point. They keep denying it, saying he won't leave. I feel like he's going to leave at some point. They needed someone to replace him or be a successor. I think Dwyer's a perfect addition. He has 55 goals in MLS, some number like
Something
that.
like that.
It's a ridiculous number. He's a fantastic proven scorer. He's first on the ball. He played well in the Gold Cup. I mean, he said he's disappointed with how he played in the Gold Cup, but he has no reason to be. He created opportunities, was a force offensively. He got sent home, which I don't agree with. But Dom Dwyer,
it was weird that he did get sent home.
Bruce Renault's reasoning behind that was because they played good. Something else was up with that. But I think Dom Dwyer is a proven goal scorer, one of the better players in MLS. And it makes total sense. It's not like you're jeopardizing their immediate future. It's going to be over time. But from Orlando City standpoint, I think it's a fantastic move.
So the $1.6 million that Orlando City had to give up for Dwyer, 400 of that is general allocation money, and 500 in target allocation money, and then 700 in future allocation based on performance.
And Peter Vermes said they expect Peter Vermes, the coach of Sporting Kansas City, said they expect all the 700,000 to be met. So it's going to most likely be 1.6 million.
Do you know what the second largest trade deal in MLS history was?
Was it Molino?
Yeah, again with Orlando City.
Right, I remember.
So Orlando City likes to make these splashes.
I remember. They sold Molino to Minnesota United. And Adrian Heath wanted to bring him back and reunite with him in Minnesota. I think these moves are really nice. But we have to look back from an MLS standpoint. Why would a team reject an offer from another? Because Kansas City has rejected offers from overseas for $3 million. So, and the MLS rules are weird with this. So, if KC were to sell them for $3 million, they would receive about $650,000 to use in allocation money for transfers.
That's insane.
So, they're going to be getting a lot more money this way with just a trade. Isn't that weird? It's still backwards.
What? Actually, I think it's not backwards. Because what the league wants to do is fine. If you want to buy our league players now, because it's single entity, blah blah blah. If Major League Soccer has to say, fine, you want to buy our league players, you have to give us more money than what somebody could trade for. So you're forcing these European clubs to be like, oh, okay, fine. Well, $5 million for Dom Dwyer. Beat us, Orlando City. If you really wanted the player.
I mean, yeah, but I think part of it also might be trying to keep all the talent in MLS.
And that too. Mm-hmm. You want to keep the talent, because if it's so easy for players to get poached off these clubs from European markets, then what's the point? But did you know Dom Dwyer in 2014 scored a club record for Sporting KC with 22 goals that season in 2000?
Yeah, he burst on the scene that year.
14.
When he was on loan at Orlando City, because he actually used to play for Orlando City.
Yeah, he spent 13 USL League games there, where he scored 15 goals. And then he loaned back for the championship game where he scored 4 goals.
Yeah, and their 7-4 win, which is crazy if you think about it. They call Adrian Heath, the current coach of Minnesota United, said that Orlando City was Dom Dwyer's spiritual home. He got fined for tampering, actually. Now look, he's back in Orlando.
He's a good goal scorer. Like, he hasn't had the most successful season.
Not this year, no.
This year, but he is second best in Major League Soccer behind Bradley White-Phillips of New York Red Bulls in goals since 2014, the start of 2014.
He doesn't stop trying to score a goal. If he can't score one, he gets so upset. Even if they're up 3-0, 2-0, he's still upset trying to chase that goal. And that's something that you really want in your forward. You want that killer instinct.
Yeah, and Orlando City absolutely needed the goals, because they're at the bottom of the league when it comes to goal scorers.
They're struggling. I mean, even the games at the beginning where they're winning games like 1-0.
Yeah.
They were squeaking by.
Bottom of the league with goal scorers, and then bottom of the league of goal scoring as a team. So it's like there's a recipe for disaster. You can't have players that score and the team doesn't score. Even if you distribute, everybody's got 2 goals, 1 goal here. It's as a team, it's a failure, and as individuals, it's a failure. So